Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on Krile. So, Krile is a pretty cool character. She is the second Force character to come to Global. So in this video, we're going to talk about her artifacts, her spheres, and I did get a request to talk about Force enhancements. So I don't know if I'm going to talk about this with every character, but I do think Krile has some noteworthy things to talk about. So we're actually going to start off here on the Force enhancements page and talk about kind of what comes with her Force enhancements and what you want to be looking out for. How far should you invest in Krile for Force enhancements? Now, the one thing I will say is if you like a character and you're going to use them a lot, I recommend you take them all the way to 30. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. The only characters you shouldn't be taking all the way to 30 are ones that you're maybe just using to get through one mission, but then you maybe aren't going to use them after that, but you just need enough to get by, something like that. But if it's a character you really like, I always recommend full investment if you can afford it. Now, a couple of big things that come from Force enhancements. One is just like the force charge up here, right? So these enhancements allow your just normal force gauge to increase faster by having force enhancements. So what I would say, let's say you're someone that you're willing, you have the 3 force enhancement stones to get you all the way to 30 if you need to, but maybe you're low on character points, right? So if you're low on character points, but you have the stones, usually what people will recommend is take them at least to 23 if you can. If you get up to 23, you're going to get all your force charging, which is really important for getting your force gauge up quicker, right? Now, Cryo, like Penelo, has a very notable HP damage boosting skill for the force gauge in her kit, and that is going to be her Ray of Hope. So when you're looking in here, she's going to have 2 Ray of Hope extensions, so she gets one here at 5. You're going to notice a 25% HP damage boost to the force gauge, and then her force extension 2 comes a little bit later on. Ray of Hope extension 2 comes at 25. So I highly recommend with Krile you at least take her to 25, because that HP damage up during force time is like ridiculously important. As we saw in my other videos with Penelo, that's what made her so ridiculous, was that her 15 and 35 did it. With Krile, her Ray of Hope basically is her force charging ability. So I do categorize Krile as a battery support character, but also a force charging character, like Penelo and like Selphie will be, right? So you definitely can use Krile for that. It just depends on what style you like. Do you like Penelo style or do you like Krile style, right? That's got a nice ring to it, right? Krile style. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at Krile's artifacts and her spheres. And then we will jump into the showcase. I'm actually going to go into the first Shinryu, not her own. I know she's built for her own, but those bosses in there are really aggressive. And I'm worried about starting a showcase and having characters die. This one, even though it's got like the battery poison, or the aura poison that we can take, it's not like going to outright kill us. Like, I feel like I just have more control in this fight. So I'm going to use this one for my showcase here. So let's take a look at Krile here. So for her artifacts, you want to go attack 108, max brave 330. Now, she is a battery character, so I brave can work. The thing is a lot of her battery scales off of HP damage dealt. So that's why, like, attack is a little bit more important on Krile than, say, another battery character. But some of her battery is straight up off of iBrave as well. So if you want to do, like, attack 108, iBrave 170, I think that wouldn't be the worst idea. Or attack 108, max brave 330. I think either of those would be fine passives to put on. For the spheres now, she's got a C slot and 2 D slots, right? So for the C slot, something like Alphanod, which is a C sphere I recommend a lot, can be really good for like party buffing. Otherwise, you could go with like a battery sphere. And so since Krile is focused on battery, I kind of like going into that. So I gave her own sphere, which is a really nice battery sphere. And then the D slot, you want to do typical party attack buffing if you can. So Ash and Hope are 2 I always recommend. Krile could use Wakka's. I just don't have any of Wakka's spheres, but Wakka's probably one of the better ones you can put on. But I did do a full investment on an Ash and a Hope sphere. So I did full invest those and recreated those with extra EX weapons that I had. So I've got my Krile pretty decked out here, right? So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop in. One thing I will say just as a bonus, Krile here is the first FR character to not have a BT. And so with characters like that, you actually physically equip the force weapon, which you can see I've got equipped right here. And then that does mean you are free to sell off her purple EX weapon if you'd like to get some red ingots back. So you probably want to do that if you have her force weapon. So let's go ahead. We're going to hop into the fight. We're going to run her with Garnet and Kane here. Garnet is just going to make her look really good, and Garnet synergizes well with Krile. Krile has two, so just like Kane, Krile has two kind of special abilities during Force Time, or special things that buff the Force gauge more during Force Time, the HP damage bonus. So with Kane, it was launching and range damage. With Krile, it's thunder damage, or when she batteries her party. So when she batteries her party, it's going to go up 20%. Now on her Force enhancements, we saw that her Ray of Hope is basically essentially getting a 50% HP damage boost. So when she's using Ray of Hope during her Force Time, it's going to be like a 70+% gain. It's going to be quite crazy. So we're going to try to get to that as quickly as possible here. So with Kane, let's go ahead and start with his AA just for fun. And then with Kane, I think I'm going to get his burst effect on. We won't hop in the air with him right away. We'll wait a turn, and then we'll get Kane up in the air after that. And then I'll try to do some, like, maybe some force gauge battering with Cryo a little bit to try to get that up a little bit more. Okay. So Cryo, typically how you want to start is, so her 15 and 35, Ray of Hope is literally just like a free turn battery attack. It does give her a buff as well. But that's going to be like her main force charging ability. So what you kind of want to try to do is, if you can hold off, you want to try to save skill uses of that for actual Force Time, because it's going to go up like crazy. Now, as a Final Fantasy V character, her skills do level up. So Ray of Hope and Thunder, you use them once and then they'll get the plus variance. So let's use Ray of Hope to start. So you see it'll just be a nice battery, add some buffs on, and we're good there. Then what happens is we've got Ray of Hope Plus, which is just a better version of it. And then Thunder is basically going to be like her filler attack. I'll use that maybe a little bit later, but it goes to a plus variant as well. But what I'm going to do is we're going to roll into the EX. Now, her EX is very, very fast charging. It does pretty good damage here, as you're going to see. The big thing with it is it gives her overhead. So you can see she has a 5-turn overhead there. Her overhead's a little bit more unique, though, where it's actually going to tick down 1 every turn. But every single turn that's up, it is basically going to battery the party based on how much damage she did with her EX, which, once again, that's why the attack 108 is so important on her to get as much damage in. So you're going to see here after Garnet attacks, I mean, we might not be able to see it because with Garnet in the party, the battery is so good already. But yeah, we did a battery on that as well from Kryo's overhead. So Kryo's overhead actually is very, very good for burst phasing, because during the burst phase, it won't go down. And it's really effective if you're, say, using like a Sid Rain's call or a selfie call, and you're launching throughout the entire burst. Your party's going to battery before every launch, and it's going to be going like crazy if you're like launching during the burst phase. So I think it's a very, very nice combo that way. Let's go ahead with Garnet. Oh, I didn't do this yet. And then we need to do Garnet's burst attack. Okay, let's do that. All right, so this team's going to be looking pretty good here. We're going to have a lot of battery between Garnet and Cryo going on. A lot of good auras going on. So our damage, I think, what I want to do is get into Force Time and just do like some absolutely insane damage. And see like what we can do to that Force gauge, right? Now somebody asked me, do I like Penelo or Cryo better as like a Force Charger? And I kind of like Penelo better, because Penelo is a little bit more dedicated to it, and she's got 2 different skills that she can use up that really heavily impact the HP damage. Cryo only has 1, but it's going to do more damage during her own force, which is really cool. So we're going to see that here in a second. All right, so now I think it's time to get Kane up in the air. So let's do that. We'll use Kane's LB. And then we're going to go ahead and use his jump. Double jump. There we go. All right, then we're just going to let Garnet attack through. And then Cryo, we're going to maybe spam a couple of Ray of Hopes here. Actually, I might show you off her Thunder first. Let's do that. So let's do Garnet can just do this. That's fine. Now the big thing is if you are using Garnet with Cryo, when you do have Force Time up, you want to make sure Garnet's in her Thunder stance and using Thunder attacks, because you're going to boost the HP gauge a little bit more that way. Okay, so Cryo. So let's just do 1 Ray of Hope. This will just be a nice little battery, and it's going to charge the Force gauge pretty well there. You can see we went up to 51% there. But she's not like Penelo. Like, I can't just spam the heck out of that and get all the way into Force Time, which is why I like Penelo better for charging, just because Penelo has 2 skill uses and she has recovery on her AA, so she can spam into Force Time and still have enough to spam during Force Time. Cryo, you have to be a little bit more selective with it. Let's go ahead and just show off Thunder here. So you can see a pretty basic thunder attack, does a little splash damage. Not too bad there, right? The other thing with thunder is it does a max brave up and an eye brave up. So there are some buffs attached to her 15 and 35, so you just want to make sure you're using those periodically, right? We'll do this. All right, and then next we'll go ahead and show Kryle's LD off. Her LD is actually pretty cool. I've always liked her LD. So once again, it does a lot of battery. It's going to do a lot of damage. Her LD is going to give her a really nice buff that actually makes it so she can't be broken, which is very, very cool. And it also does Thunder Enchant to the party, which is awesome, which is why Kryle's LD does have some value, because you can give party Thunder Enchant through that. So let's go ahead and use that. Now, the other thing is, it's also, so this basically is Enchant and Peril for Thunder. So the enemies are going to get imperiled for Thunder, but they also get a trap on them. And what's going to happen is when the enemies take their turn and that trap goes off, the enemies are going to get paralyzed, which is very, very nice here. Here, let's drop down some Thunder damage with Garnet. There we go. Okay, so we'll let Kane's go through there. And the nice thing is since Kane then would be enchanted, Kane's doing weakness damage as well, which is good, right? Helps his damage out a little bit. Part of Kryle's buff too is it like heavily impacts the weakness damage that you do, so it like makes your weakness damage much stronger. That's another part of what Krile is doing within her kit, right? Alright, so we're going to let Kane come down here. I'm debating... Alright, so the enemies are going to be paralyzed for a turn. I'm trying to think if... what I'm going to do with Kane is I'm just going to do a normal attack here. And then on Kane's next turn, we're going to get up in the air, and then I think we're going to be ready for Force Time. And I want Kane up in the air for Force Time. I might even go into Summon during Force Time as well. We'll see. But we're going to get Cryo all charged up here. Okay, so Cryo... yeah, let's do the EX again so we can get the battery going. Always a good button to press. Because you notice her overhead runs out very quickly. Because it literally takes every turn, whether it's yours or the enemy's. But it's because it's providing all that battery. Okay, Garnet. Actually, I'll do a Holy Prayer. We need a little bit of healing here. It's because we got that HP poison going, right? I mean, we're just going to get poisoned back down, but whatever. Okay. So Garnet, let's do... We'll stay in Thunder Stance here. Alright, so now we're going to get Kane up in the air because our force is ready to go. So with Kane, yep, we're going to have to use the LD again. Alright, we're going to have Kane's and Garnet's burst effect up here. Alright, so let's do that, and then let's double jump. We'll let the enemies take their turns. They're going to be paralyzed. Oh, never mind. Kryle's going to jump in front. Okay, so here's where the magic happens. So we're going to use Force Time here. So let's go into Force Time. I like that Realm is in it too. It's very cool because Realm just came back and became very relevant. And Realm is Final Fantasy VI, so I absolutely love it. Alright, so watch our force gauge now here. Okay. We have to get to a Krile turn. It's going to be a little hot minute here. Paralyze, yep. Let that go through. Oh gosh, we have to go through 2 Garnet turns. That's unfortunate, actually. Alright, one's going to attack Kane, which isn't going to do anything. Garnet getting hit, I don't think is going to be bad here, so I'll just take a normal turn. Let's go ahead and pop off the LD. That seems like a good button to press right now. Now, the thing to keep in mind, for Krile to get the extra 20% HP damage bonus, she has to actually battery an ally. So if, like, you're running Kane and Frey and they're both up in the air, they're not actually going to get batteried. So you have to be careful about that. Okay, do that, yep. Okay, and then go ahead and attack Garnet, and then Kryle's finally going to get to go off here. Yep, that's fine. Alright, so we're going to do thunder damage here. Let's go ahead and do that, because we want to help buff the HP damage gauge. Alright, now we finally got Krile up here. Alright, so now we're going to spam Ray of Hope. So watch what happens to this HP damage bonus here. Alright, so let's go ahead. Ray of Hope plus. Yes, 73%. So that's where she's got a little bit of an edge over Penelo. Like, her gain is way stronger in one skill use, but she has way less skill uses to deal with, right? And it has to be specifically during Kryle's force time to get that full 73%. Let's do it again. So let's buff this sucker up pretty high. I don't know, should we go up to like 500%? I mean, the damage now is going to be pouring out like super heavy. So you can see Krile is very, very powerful here if you build her up and do this correctly. Okay, Ray of Hope again. This is going to take us up to 400%, roughly. Okay. So let's do one more charge. Let's do one more. Let's get up to almost like 500% here. Sure, let's Ray of Hope again. Let's go crazy. Okay, now I'm going to start blasting off attacks. Once again, with Kane's follow-ups, that's what makes this like really powerful too. Okay, so now let's go ahead and summon mode. And then we're just going to spam Kryle's EX and LD like crazy. So let's spam. I mean, we got Bahamut up, so we can just spam EX every time if we want to. We'll compare the damage, but... Alright, so that's 3.4 mil AoE right there. Okay. And then a 2.6 mil. I mean, you get the gauge high enough, now we're just nuking. We're just nuking away, and even though we're only getting a few attacks in of this max damage, it doesn't take that much. Look at all this damage. That was Garnet's going off. Let's try the LD. We're at 528% right now. Oh, shoot. Kane actually gets a turn. Yeah, so Kane, I mean, what are we going to do with Kane? I probably need to get... do I want to use 2 turns to get Kane up in the air again? Probably, right? Or do I just want to spam really big attacks? Let's do a fat launch here. Let's just do a fat launch. I mean, we got it charged up, though, so much. Look at this damage. What was that? That was 1.1 mil on a tap attack. What? Yeah, that was about a 10 mil launch. Okay. Yeah, the damage here is pretty good. What do you think? So that's the way you can operate in force time, right? Is you can just really build... If you build correctly, you can go crazy and just build up to an insane burst, like force time, and you just nuke the enemies down. So we're basically at the point where I don't know that the enemies are even going to get their force time off, because I think we're all basically going to nuke them dead here. Look at this damage. Look at this insane damage. Like, dude, these guys are toast. We've got, yeah, Immaculate Judgment. Get out of here. Get out of here. 5 mil AoE. We didn't even finish our force time. So that's where it seems crazy, right? Because you feel like, oh, you're wasting all these turns charging it where you could be attacking. But it literally only took me like 4 turns of that charge to just nuke the enemies out of here. Just wipe them off the planet. So... Anyways, guys, there you go. There's Cryo. That's how you nuke them up a little bit with Cryo. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.